What's up guys, Impossible here. I just wanted to say before this video starts, I'm aware it's super long, so if you get to a part that's boring, or you don't care how to do it, or you already know how to do it, or whatever, feel free to just skip that, just, seek through the video and go to the next part, because I go over a few different things in different sections. There's some time-lapse sections, there's some long talking about stuff sections, so I would encourage you to, if some part of it is boring, just skip past that part, because there's other stuff that covers completely different, map techniques and parts of the design and whatnot. I just kind of dumped it into this one big video because it would be a little weird to split it up, because it's all me working on the same project. This was recorded live as one continuous video file, so I didn't want to split it up into different videos. I'm just saying that it has the elements of it could be split up into different videos if I wanted to. So if one part's boring or whatever, just skip past that part and go on to the next part, because you might learn something new. There's a few things in here that I don't really see anyone else do, so they would be cool to know. But if there's something that you already know how to do or you don't care about, then just skip that part. I'm probably being a little repetitive here. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Welcome back to part 3 of SkillWarz, porting maps into SkillWarz using the SkillWarz map editor. This video we are going to be starting making our map. However, I want to start off with something I did not really cover in the past 2 videos. The past 2 videos were mainly about planning and layout, and planning the layout and whatnot. Before we actually start making the map, we want to try and consider everything that might have to be considered. And one thing we have not considered yet, that's pretty simple on this map, but we still have to think about it so we don't get tripped up later, is terrain changes. This map has a couple terrain changes. There's some like this, like for example, this is higher than this. Am I going to put that in? No. But that's one thing I want to decide, sometimes you have terrain changes that are pretty easy. This here is just a ramp. I can put this in as a ramp. And if you notice in the, let's see if I can indicate here in the window here. This dimension here is 12. That's actually the length of that ramp there. That's what I put that in there for. Oops, that's the map editor. So, simple stuff like that, of course, is, well, simple. But there are a few terrain changes on this map, and we just want to, think about beforehand how we're going to approach them. The main one is right here, where we have a bit of a slope here. It's not really straight either. We just kind of like this part of the map dips. So we run over here, the dip kind of runs along here and over to here. This is fortunately not super noticeable. It is kind of important, because you kind of get this weird head glitch if you like going all the way across the map from just the terrain changing. But it's not really critical, and I honestly don't even like it. Honestly don't even like this terrain change here, so I'm probably just going to completely ignore this, pretend it doesn't exist, and just make from all this just be the same level here. Because it only dips down by a couple feet. Like if you just stand on this windowsill, now you're at the same level as everything else there. So I think I'm gonna do that, because having this weird terrain here makes it slightly easier to get spawn trapped, because you have to shoot uphill. That sounds dumb, but it's true. So I think I'm just gonna kind of ignore all of that. The only other thing is this here, and this I probably will put this in, because this is the same level as this building here. So we have this ramp over there, this part here, this comes out at the same level, so I'm going to make this the same level as that building, and then probably just put in a ramp probably like right here or something. I know it's the hill's here instead of here, but who cares. I'll probably just put it in right here. These are just things you want to think about beforehand. And then likewise, just put another ramp in right here. This part is weird. I don't even know why they did it like this. This hill here, I might just this mound against this might just be flat when I do that, because it'll look weird if I just put a ramp here going to nowhere. So I think that's just how I'll do it. The there are a couple things. This fuselage here, as you can see, it's a bit raised up off the ground. So what I'll probably do is just have this be in the same place and then just put like a ramp here. Yeah, simple as that. Same thing here. It's raised up a bit. I can just put a ramp. This little mound is not important. You know, this wing here, looks nice, but I'm not gonna replicate that. That's just gonna be flat there, I think. So these are just kind of the things you want to go through and think of and make decisions about when you're trying to design a map. If your map has a lot of terrain, like I recommended, you shouldn't have a map with a lot of terrain. But if it does, you're gonna have to go through and kind of think about basically everything and think about how you're gonna re-engineer it. Because you can't just put ramps everywhere. It looks stupid and it's a huge pain and it plays terribly. So you have to figure out how you're going to kind of streamline, that's a good word, streamline the terrain. So to recap, my decisions on this map is for this part, this dip here, to just kind of ignore it. For this part, to put a couple ramps in. And then for this fuselage, I will probably also put some ramps in here. And that's basically it. So now on to the map editor. I almost stopped the recording instead of changing windows. That would have been a little annoying. Anyway. So, first thing, what I'll probably do, because I already figured out I'm going to use, the entire map's going to be flat. There's just some parts going to be raised up, right? So I'll put in a terrain, not terrain, just a big plot of ground that I want the size of my map to be. So my map is 78 by the main part of it. I measured in the earlier video, I said it was 78 by 130, but the 130, the distance there is not to like the edge, is kind of like to a farther part of the map. So the main dimensions of the map are 78 by 121. So just do this. Snap the old position in there, and then pull out by 77, because you already have one, so don't pull out by 78, pull out by 77, and then by 121, so we pull out by 120. Of course, so I don't confuse myself, I'm just gonna put that back at 0 and move a bit farther back. Man, really? Okay, so we pull out by 110. So we pull out by another 10. Alright. So now we have the main area of the map here. And as you can see, I have my window of my blueprint up there. So we can see what's going on with that. I'm gonna go ahead. I criticized someone for making their map orange, making the floor orange on their map. I'm going to have the floor on mine for a lot of the map either be orange or brown, because the theme of this map is supposed to be like a Mars colony in the desert or something. However, when the map editor gets better textures, I will definitely change it. Let's go with orange for now. I don't know. They're too ugly. I can just make it green. I don't know. Let's go with green for right now. We'll change it later. So, and then to be completely honest, I'm probably going to replace this thing with smaller parts. So, for example, the this part I'll probably have as like asphalt, you know, like gray or something, and I'll only have the middle part here be a different color. But anyway, we can start placing buildings on the map here. So what I usually do is I'll just place a block down at the old snap position there, and I'm looking at this here, this 26 dimension. So I want to pull this out by 25. Ta-da! And then what I can do is put a building down. Now for right now I'm just going to put the floor plans, I'm just going to put the floors down and everything, and we will put the walls and stuff up later. So that's 26 apart, and the building is 33 long, so we pull this out by 32, and it is 17 wide, so we pull it out by 16, and then we could make this just like, I don't know, concrete floor color. There we go. And then we should see that this part here, here's the test if we measured everything correctly. This should be 19, so we pull this out by 18. Alright, so we see that our map is sized correctly there. Next up, let's make this building here. Or actually, we could have a bit more fun and make the ramp first. So we snap position here. The ramp is, what is this? So 42, so we pull it out by 41. At some point I'm going to cut to a time lapse, so don't worry, but I want to tell you what I'm doing first. So this is 42, we pulled out by 41, so right now we're here. So then we can make a bit of asphalt here, let's say. Pull out by 1 and pull out by 6. That'll be 8 there. I know the Z fighting looks terrible. Don't hate. It's pre-alpha, guys. It's pre-alpha. So we wanted our ramp. That's one thing I didn't measure. How far the ramps come up. I think it's basically 1 meter though. So let's pull this up by 1 meter, and then we can put our ramp in. Oops, did I not select that? Clearly not. Put our ramp in here. Just change the rotation. Then for putting in ramps, I like to put them where they're supposed to be, or farther this way, you know, like farther, anyway, and then pull them back. So pull this out by 10, which will make it 12 long total. We want it to go up by 1, so we squeeze in here and do that. And then pull this over here. Ramps, sometimes the position snap. Oh wait, this is actually correct. My view was just, my perspective was just a little off. Don't know what I was thinking of there. I think with the old map editor, the positions kind of felt a bit different than this one. I don't know, maybe I'm just misremembering. So there we are. Now we have these two things in position, and I'm going to try and just do most of the rest of this here, the rest of the buildings anyway, and just time-lapse that. So stay tuned. Alright, now we have gotten basically all of the building foundations in. So at this point, I'm probably going to try and flesh out the buildings a bit, and then also kind of figure out what materials I'm going to be using for the ground cover and whatnot. And we can delete our temporary ground cover here because we have all of the actual dimensions figured out. Alright, so what that was there is I realized I made a typo in my calculations there. I put down the length of this part here as 42 when it should have been 52, or I'm actually going to make it 53. So what that did is it threw off this number, because how I got this number is I just subtracted the total length of the map. I took 130 minus 9 minus 33 minus 42 and got this as 46, when it's actually going to be, it should have been 36, or I'm going to make it 35. So yeah, that was a slight error there, but you know, you'll see, if you know, this is learning experience, right? So if stuff doesn't fit like at all, double check your math. that is the lesson here. So fortunately, I only need to move this stuff over. What is this? This is too long, so this needs to be 11 smaller. There we are. That looks about that looks much more the correct scale. I'm surprised I didn't notice that immediately, but oh well, that's how it goes sometimes. And then this stuff, this is gonna have to be 11 smaller also. Just like that. And then let's move these things over by 11. So I made this 11 smaller so I know exactly how much to move it over by, then I don't have to count. There we are, it's 11. Make that the right size, and then I can make this 11 bigger. Double check my work there. Alright, now everything looks like it is in the right place. Yay, back to the montage. Oh, why I'm not just filling this in with floor is because this point here is going to be where I'm going to put one of the tube thingies. This is this 3333 that I marked out here. And, you know, we already made one mistake, so it would probably be best to just double check our measurement here. So we should be able to pull this out 32 by 32. 32. 32. Alright, that's in the right place. Good deal, good deal. Alright, good time to save here. The AOO, that's alpha 0.0 is what that stands for. So the 0.0, the first 0 means it's the, you just start counting with 0. So the first 0 means it's the first major update. And the second 0 means there's been no minor updates since the last major update. Alright, we got this big tube in place. Let's go. This map's gonna look nice. So what I want to do is put a little bit of a floor in, which I'm gonna have to do with some ramps, I think. I know we have some Z fighting there, but I'll take care of that eventually. Probably. I should show you while I'm at it here one easy way you can take care of Z fighting on stuff. So like right up here, there's a lot of Z fighting with the ends of these here. So what I should have done, I'll do it on this one when I do this, when I copy it over. What I should have done was just made every other one have a slightly offset position. So this one, I want to put the altitude as like 0.0001, and then that'll stop it from Z fighting. And I can just do this for every single one, and it'll stop it from Z fighting, like I said. This will slightly increase the size of your map, but probably not by a whole lot. So not really a whole lot of excuse. No excuses here. The weirder your positions are on stuff, the larger your map's gonna be, but it won't make it more than like 10% larger having stuff kind of positioned weirdly. Sometimes you have this weird glitch. I don't know why that causes it there, but yeah. All right, so now we don't have any more Z fighting on this one here. So I should probably replace this one with this. I'll just end up doing the same thing here. If there's any point, I guess I could just change that one. I don't know. Yeah, this gets rid of this Z fighting here. For right now, I might be changing. I might change a scale or something on these, so I don't want to make anything. I don't want to put too much work into like really fine stuff. But before I release the map, I'm gonna change those things to fix that. Another basic thing here is that you want these lines to line up. So like this is a block and a quarter off the ground. This here, I put a block and a quarter off the ground, but I put the block here and the quarter goes down. Don't put the block on the ground and then pull a quarter up, because the lines over here won't line up. To show you what that looks like, I can just rotate this block here. Like that. So it looks weird. And of course, as you just saw me do there, you can rotate it. Like this. I can pull this up here. It's not lined up. I can rotate. No. I don't know why it does that sometimes. It's just something. Well, I mean, I know why it does it. It's just weird. Anyway, I can just rotate it like that, and then we get back to we get it looking correct. Likewise, if you can avoid it, don't have half blocks in the middle here. I really can't avoid it on this one because I have these ramps. But yeah, that's just something else. Oh, if I think what I could do is make the ramp slightly smaller on each side, and then it will at least be centered. I think I'm gonna go with that because it'll look a little bit better. There we are. Just pull out like that, and we're good. So then we can check out this here. This looks like some type of Mars colony shit, doesn't it? So this is what I was talking about with the weird physics things. You can like run on the walls and stuff like this. So what I think I'm actually gonna do is, before playtesting this map, I'll just put a barrier block in, which I call it a barrier block because that's the name of the old map editor. The new name of it is to use the block material, but it sounds weird to say because people think like everything is a block, which is, you know, which is true. So yeah, let me put this, what are we at here? It's 0.6625, about perfectly lines it up there. You just make this the full height there. Just like that. Put in the block. Doesn't matter if something's Z-fighting if you're going to make it a barrier, so don't, never bother fixing that. Alright, well, let's see how this looks here. I mean, it's a little weird having blocks, but it's probably for the best. I don't really want people camping on the sides of this thing, and it's not really something you'd ever really notice unless you actually tried to. So I think we're probably going to go with that. There you are. That's one right there. And yep, let me see if I can put the other ones in here. So here I copied these, and I'm going to change the position slightly to help so this won't be Z-fighting. And then anytime I use this, so we see there's no Z-fighting up on the top here. One is slightly above the other. I'm just going to alternate like over and under for each one. Why does it do that sometimes? That's a bug. Alright, and then we can make the other tube here. Alright, we got this next one in here. Now there's going to be a doorway in between these, but I'll add that in a second. I want to add my barriers and stuff, because that's easy to do, and I can just put that right in. Should be easy, if the positioning is good. Alright, then I'm going to put a door in between these two containers here. It's going to be a little tricky, but it should be doable. So I want to put, need to reduce the size of this one. Here, I don't really know how tall this is going to be. Let's see how this looks. I think that looks fine. Is centered enough. Close enough. Alright, yeah, I think that's how we're gonna do it. So we just copy these and should make a nice door. There we are. We got this weird thing here. I don't know if I'm gonna leave this in or not when the map's done. I might put some crates here or something so you can't crawl in, but I think that's a cool element right now. This ramp here is looking a little weird. I don't know if there's a point to changing. I guess I could change it. Honestly, I don't know if anyone really ever notice or care about that. I mean, it's already a weird shaped tube, so it's like, yeah, I don't know. Certainly not something to worry about for the alpha version. All right, so we got some crates, not crates. We got some tubes down here. I think it's looking pretty good so far. The tubes that go right here are kind of offset a little bit in their angle. So to replicate that, what I do is I'll go back to IW4X. I can find, where's that? IW4X, there we are. There's also a door, there's also doors here and here. But this one's actually a little bit offset. I don't know if I really like that. I might change my map so this is offset the same way as in this one here. And also, before someone points out in the comments, I am aware that this is not a circle. I'm aware it's an oval. Okay, don't say that. I'm aware of the shape, but one, I think circles look better because it's like NASA. If you've ever seen that, was that movie Interstellar or something? Where the dude's like stranded on Mars or whatever. All this stuff is all those like Mars colony stuff. That's stereotypically circular. So I know this is like an egg shape. Don't point that out. I'm making it a circle on purpose. All right, so angles on this stuff here. We have we want to look at. There's a couple things we want to look at as usual. Always a couple things. The how much they are set into the ground. You know, so this is basically even with ground level on this end and the other end. Then also we can see about how much they raise up in the middle here. We can say this is about maybe 1.5 meters. It's like face height, eyesight height, so probably about 1.5 meters, 1.75, something like that. How we can easily measure the angles on these here, including this, because I'm going to put the floor at an angle too. If you have an iPhone, or really any type of smartphone, any type of not cheap smartphone, a lot of Android phones should have this too, I don't really know. On iPhones, you go to the Measure app, and I'm sure you can download apps from the App Store to do this too. Android's something similar, I don't really know. But what you do is, you can't see me doing this, but I'm just holding my phone up to the screen, and so what I'm looking at is this here. This angle, this here, this is not level, right? So I'm just going to look at it straight on, and line my phone up, go to an app that has a level in it, line my phone up, and I can find that is an 8-degree angle. So now I know what offset to make this floor here is make it 8 degrees. Likewise, look on this side. Once again, I'm looking at this here, that part there. I just hold my phone up and turn my phone so that my phone is parallel with that line, and that is also an 8-degree angle. While I'm here, I should probably figure out the space here. I'm going to say that's let me make that like 1 meter. This is a bit less than 1 meter, but our tubes are a bit larger, so make that be 1 meter wide. I think would be fine. And then the angle on these tubes also is we can just go up to any type of vantage point like this. Perfect. Look at this. This is perfect here. And what I do is I can use this door, but I'm going to use the top of the plane. Just line my phone up parallel with this here. If you work construction, you might actually have an angle finder. We see that that's a about an 8-degree angle also. These guys are doing with their 8-degree angles. They're using it in a lot of places. Can I not get in here? Okay. This tube, I'm going to say, the tubes line up, so this one should also be 8 degrees. That's just geometry. Yep, that's 8 degrees also. So now I know how to make these angles here. So I'm going to go back to the map editor. Get the old insta swap in there. Now, one thing with the editor tools is that you can only snap angles 15 degrees. Then also, if you have a bunch of stuff, like if I have one thing selected, I can change the angle easily. But if I have a bunch of things selected, then these things don't show up. So what I'm going to do is put in just a parallel here, is what I'm going to call it, which is just something like this. I don't know. Color doesn't matter, of course. And I'm just going to put this in near where I'm going to put the thing. Actually, move it up a little bit probably too. And just put this at a rotation. So I'm going to put that at a positive 8-degree angle there. So now we have an 8-degree angle that we can line up with our little tube we're going to put in. And for the tube, we could probably copy. Let's just get a fresh one. Copy all of this. Bring this right over here. And do the rotate. So I'm going to put that at 0 just for convenience, so I can line it up with the map easily if it is at 0. Let's go ahead and move it over here. The spacing, got to try and check the spacing on this here. Let's go ahead and put it like about right. Not right there, here's the building, but I think right about here is going to be good. Just trying to look at the map. You can see the thing up there. So I think that's basically where they put it in Modern Warfare 2. That might be more like 2 meters instead of 1 meter. You can always Alt-Tab back. This is actually only about 1 meter spacing, so I think our positioning is fine. Yeah, let's go into playtest mode here. Yeah, we can walk through that. Looks good to me. Alright, so now we need to reselect this here. So we are going to, first of all, I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna have this be about the ground level, so the tube's not gonna be quite this high. I just want to get this angle about right. So we just kind of line ourselves up here. We take the rotation snap off and grab our little angle thing and just start turning, and we get it just about until we get it just about right here. The farther your mouse is away, the easier it is to do. I think that's about as close as we can get. And then this thing here, the floor is, let's see, this is vertical. 1, 2, so it intersects 2 below the vertical. So the vertical on this one is here. 1, 2, so it intersects 2 below the vertical. So I want to have this be a little bit lower. Not 1 block lower, just do this. Looks like about the right place for that. And then, to make it easy on myself, I'm just going to duplicate this. Or actually, I probably could put the stuff in and then duplicate it. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the stuff in and then duplicate it. So then, once we put this in here, we can figure out what our actual angle is. We have 277.97. That's a 7.97 degree angle. So that's really close to our target, which is great, of course. This video is going to take a little while to edit, but if you're watching this, I already got it done, so don't worry. And then we're going to grab this stuff as we have it here. Copy. Pull this out like this. Let's put this back on something before I forget about it. I don't want to copy it again. Sometimes I hit copy by accident instead of whatever else. I mean, like, it's just whatever. Anyway. Then we get the, I want to rotate. Like that. We can adjust the position. Is that about right? Kind of hard to tell if that's not centered. If this is centered or not. Gotta move it just a little bit. I want to try and get it in place and then center it up because it'll be easier to see. So we need to put this at the same angle as that. So we can either line it up, try and line it up by sight, or there's only 5 things here. We can set each one of them exactly to the right angle. I'm gonna try and line it up by sight here because I don't think it'll be that hard to do, but we can always do it the proper way also. So just grab this here. Of course, I forgot to take the angle step off. Looks about good to me. We'll have to see how close that is. It might be perfect. And then what I'm gonna do is I want to do this, and then I'm gonna hit the global local space. So I'm going to go to the local space here, and that changes the coordinate system, so it'll take into account the rotation when I'm moving. So like that there, that's not quite lined up. So sometimes when you have stuff at weird rotations, weird positions, you just got to take off the snap position step. But as you can see, I try to use this position step as much as possible because it makes things easy. This is a little bit off there, so what I can do is the closer you are to the gimbal here, the finer you will move it here. So get a bit close to the gimbal, move it, and then go back here and check our progress. That's actually very close. Let's see if I can move it just very slightly more. I think I did. I don't know. I think that's close enough that no one will care. Alright, and then we want to check our height here, and the height is looking a bit off. What? Oh yeah, it's not, first of all, it's not centered, so we got to center it up. To center it, I'm looking here and here. That looks about as good as we might get it for centering. Like I said, I'm looking at these corners here. Oh, I suppose we could also just check this here because this thing's centered on the grid. So see, it's kind of flipping back and forth. So we want to get a bit closer to the gimbal here. That'll lower our sensitivity. So let's check that out there. See, that's better. Let's do that 1 or 2 more times. How's that look there? That's pretty close. Let's do it again here. I want to get this right the first time. There we are. That's close enough. And then we want to get the height correct here. So, a couple things. These I'm gonna have to change the size of these ramps here because they're all whacked out. But I think the height's basically fine. We just have these barriers poking out of the top, so just drop those down like that. Everything else looks fine, I think. So there we are. That is the positioning for that there. Just for consistency, I'm going to pull this barrier out like that. This thing here, we want to drop this so we can see that this is sticking out by about half a block there. So we can put the position step on half a block, move it down, boom, boom. Move both of these up we're in the local space. Move both of these up. There we are. Looks good. And then this, I might have to figure out something with this too. Can I pull this down by 1/4 of a block? I can, okay. So what I'm going to do here is pull this out. And just reduce the size a little bit. This one was too much. There we are. And then also reduce the height. Oh, I forgot to copy it. What am I doing? Okay. Move this back up here. I'm going to pull the height back to where it was, which I think was this. Move this down. Making this side longer so I can deal with that easier. Okay, there we are. That can work. Alright, so then this thing here I want to see, that's a little, doesn't really want to work. So I can do, is that noticeable? It might be noticeable. I think we're just going to go with it for now. Whoops. Alright, it looks a little weird, but I think it's basically fine. The these ramps look crappy. So there's actually a super easy fix I will show you right now. Don't overthink this one. Just move this up by 2. Move this up by 2. Move it down by 2. Move the top down by 2. Turn it to the normal size there. Move this down by 2. Move the top down by 2. That's how easy that is to correct. So no excuses. I don't want to hear no excuses up in here for having all this stuff not lined up. Talk about not lined up. What I do here. I'm not saying you can't make mistakes. I'm just saying the mistakes are easy to fix, so better fix them. Alright, this looks pretty good here. There's a little bit of a ledge, but who cares? So we get this up here, and then we were going to offset this by about 1 block, and that's going to move up, I think in the up direction. I'm actually going to, because this is getting kind of squeezed, I'm going to move it, I'm going to actually move that down, I think, when I offset it. So what we're going to do now is copy this and duplicate. We do not want to be in the local space, we want to be in the global space now. And just move this around, go rotation, flip that 180. Is this thing, I don't want these to mesh here. It'll look too weird. Is that meshing there? It is a little bit, but we're going to offset these, so it doesn't really matter. Just move this like this. There we are. I think that looks good. I mean, good here is very, very subjective and relative, but yeah, here we are. I think that's a pretty good positioning of these. Alright, so now we have some of our stuff lined up here. I'll probably start making some of these buildings. The buildings should not really be all that difficult to make. One of the hardest things about making buildings is just figuring out where to put the windows. You know, it's like figuring out where to put those windows at, because the window is so important if you're making trying to take cover in the building or whatever. You know, obviously. So yeah. I think I'm going to start on this building here, and I just want to go for like a classic industrial style. This is one of the spawn buildings, so I'm gonna make it a certain color. I think I'll make this one red and make that one blue, just because I think it'll look better. So yeah, I think we're gonna go time lapse here. I don't think anything I'm doing is gonna be super confusing or anything. So if you just want to watch my style, then yeah, this will be good. All right. All right. I said I wasn't gonna interrupt that much, but one thing I want to talk about. So I'm putting windows in here. So, look on the map here. I got 6 windows actually. The map, they're not evenly spaced, but I'll probably put mine in evenly spaced because it tends to just look better in SkillWarz. So, I have some. I want to put some equally spaced windows in. So what I'm gonna do is to easily figure out what I can do for these here. I'm going to be doing my using my equation for equal divisions of posts, columns, windows, whatever it may be, and I will show you that right now. So this will be an application. So what we want to do, we want to put in 6 windows, and we want to have space on the end of each window next to the walls. So let me pull this up super quick. So what I'm doing here, I'm on the forum now. I went to my post here, equal division of posts, beams, or patterns. You can use this for anything that is equally divided. So I go to this Desmos calculator. It says if you want your repeating objects to be on each end, and there's another one if you want your equal gaps to be on each end. I want equal gaps to be on the ends here. If I wanted repeating objects, that would be the windows or the repeating objects. Or at least that's how I'm thinking of it. So I want gaps to be on the end. So I'm going to go here to this calculator. So then what I do is I just just need some very simple information. Is the width of this, which I actually already know because it's 33. It's up in my plan here. And then I want to know how wide I want to make each window. And each window is going to be either 2 or 3 blocks wide. So I want to just look at both options here, and then we can decide which one I want to do. So the length of my row of space is 33, and the width of each repeating element, the window, is 2. The x-axis is the number of them. The y-axis is the spacing. So the x-axis, the number of them, I can have 4 windows that are 5 blocks apart, or I can have 6 windows, which is the number I want, that are 3 blocks apart. That may well work. I want to see what I have options have with 3. If I put in 3, I can have 5 windows that are each 3 blocks apart, or I can have 8 windows that are 1 block apart. So what I think I'm going to do is go with having 6 windows that are 2 blocks wide and have 3 blocks of space between them. This calculator makes it very, very easy. You don't even have to do trial and error. It makes it very, very easy to find this information. So once again, there's 3 blocks in between them. So I'm going to make this 3 there. 3 blocks including on the ends. So then I can just space this here. Put 2 block space. 2 block space. 2 block space. Psych! I just put it in the wrong place. There we are. So there's absolutely no trial and error even needed. If you just use that calculator, you can get a nice layout here extremely easily. People are afraid of math. They see a post that's got like any math in it, like, oh hell nah. But nah, man, it's simple. It's simple, man. I tell you this right now, and you can read that page if you want to. Just double check what I'm doing, but I'm just telling you, I'm like, I make this stuff. It's like, I'm just trying to help you out. You know what I mean? Just trying to help you out there. So the and it works well. I mean, it doesn't matter if I'm trying to help you if it doesn't work well. But yeah, my point is that it's good stuff right there. So I tend to like having the inside of my buildings be a round number and then making the walls a bit larger. And the reason for that is, one, you'll get slightly more space inside the building for whatever space you plan the building to take up. But the main reason is just placing this stuff inside the building is easier, and it'll look better too when you have this grid pattern when everything just lines up with the grid. So yeah, basically that. For making these ladders here, you want to put make that 0 blocks thick, and figure out, so that's 107. This is 106.75 when it's a bit off the wall. I want to have this be a bit off the wall, so you see how that number got a bit smaller as I moved it off the wall. So we just want to make that like 107. We turn that into 106.999. That will look good for our ladder. We can also just duplicate that while we're at it. Move that. I usually make my ladders, I think you make them a 1/4 block thick. I make them 1/2 block thick usually. Make this the actual ladder here. I forgot to adjust the height of this. We don't want the ladder going this high. I think this will be fine here. For adjusting the height of this, just pull it out by 0.25. Adjust your height. It's a weird perspective. What's going on here? Okay. Just the height. This one I need to move it down a bit so I can move this one back in and move this one back up. There we go. So now we have, of course it's slightly in the wrong place. Same thing. We just pull this one out a little bit. Move her down. Push that one back in. Pull this one back down. Easy. All right. So now we have our nice ladder on the wall here, and it looks good too. So to line up the to keep the grid lined up here, I'm individually extending each side of this by 0.25, so that'll keep the grid lined up with the grid on the floor. Alright, so I've just exported the map, and now I'm going to play it in game and check some of the scale and whatnot. So yeah, that's the end of this recording, and I'll post a follow-up episode to this, just making the rest of the map, most likely. So thank you for watching, and I will catch you later.